Welcome to Limited Time Only.
I'm Esther.
And I'm Susie.
Limited Time Only is the podcast for anyone who feels there aren't enough hours in their life.
And each week there's a different topic for you to get your ears around.
Featuring chat, comedy sketches and interviews with interesting people.
Limited Time Only is a pick-me-up in podcast form.
The special guest later in the episode is Emma Freud. This week it's time for Red Noses. Honk honk. It's for cherry, mate.
3, 2, 1. Record. Had a lovely time singing the other day.
Goodness me. I mean, Susie, that was spiritual.
Cecilia, appear in visions to all musicians. Appear and inspire.
Oh, Susie. Made me a bit emotional.
Esther.
It's quite spiritual. That's quite emotional.
We were actually singing some spirituals. Oh, that piece it's called "Hymn to St. Cecilia" by Britain, and it is about sort of creativity and muses, and it is beautiful. And well, this is what I think it's about as well. Letting children be children and play and creativity being vital, and that they need love. This is what I all read into it all, but it's a very beautiful piece. I recommend watching Voces 8 on YouTube sing it. There's eight people.
You might need to write that down.
Oh, I'll write it down.
Because I would have to think about how to spell that.
And it's absolutely stunningly beautiful. But yes, so I was off singing at the weekend. I like my folk singing weekends.
Yes.
And this time it was a classical singing weekend with Alina Choir. Which is made
they were
up
quite
of...
slim.
That was quick. That was quick.
I am quick. That's one of my gifts. I'm quite quick.
That is so quick. Yeah, quick-witted Esther. Me, not so much. No.
But I do. I think it's a literal link. That's the thing. I just make everything quite literal in my head. So,
it was very, very quick. I'm impressed with that.
Thank you.
And we sang really beautiful early 20th century English music, and it was a bunch of people I have known for years and some people I'd never met before, and singing in this beautiful modern chapel in the middle of the countryside in Oxfordshire. And it was, I mean, it's super geeky, isn't it? It's like the geekiest thing you've ever heard, and it made me so happy. And it was my birthday, and that's what I did on my birthday.
Well, it's not geeky. This is what the middle age is for, I think. It's for embracing all the things that you thought were dull when you were a kid.
I didn't think they were dull. I've always loved them. I've never thought it was dull, and I never realised it was geeky either till now.
It's all the things that are considered sort of slightly boring when you're a kid, or like not cool. And then as you get to middle age, you're like, everything's amazing. I love sitting in watching Antiques Roadshow. I don't want to go out. I want to stay in. I want to listen to Radio 4, and I want to sing in a choir and all those things. It's that they are actually all the things that bring you joy. But when you're a kid, you're like, oh my God, my parents are so boring. Just, you can embrace your full geekiness.
Look, my parents thought I was boring. That's the way round it is. I'm the geeky one singing classical music. My dad won't come and watch me singing Elgar's The Kingdom with the CBSO. Boring.
He's off to see The Prodigy.
He is. He's off to watch the London Philharmonic playing the hits of the Star Wars. That kind of thing.
So he's his own kind of geek as well, because he's like a little star nerd, is he?
Well, no, not really. It's more like film, Handel film orchestral music, but not, Mozart's Wreck. Which, I mean, we've talked about Mozart's Wreck before. You've got people. If you haven't listened to it, you have to listen to it. Please.
It's Susie's big tune.
It's absolutely phenom.
Phenom. So basically, you're telling me that, like, Eddie and Safi from Absolutely Fabulous, you are Safi through and through, and your parents are like Eddie and Patsy.
Well, that's going a bit far. Okay. They were doctors and quite responsible, but sort of, yes. I'm a bit of an enigma.
Yes,
I think enigma that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm an oddity. I'm not a black sheep. I'm more of a strangely coloured sheep.
Yes, a beautiful
Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor sheep. potentially.
Brilliant.
Standing over in the corner, knocking out the show tunes and the Handel's Messiah. So
and what a special, wonderful place that is.
There's a sheep link there for anyone who knows the Messiah. All we like sheep.
So talking about being colourful, Susie, you're wearing some lovely clothes today. Are they from a charity shop?
Yes, let's move off. Let's move off my geeky pastimes.
Oh, no, they're glorious. I think embrace them. This is what this part of our life is about. This is embracing all the things that we love, whether they're considered cool or not. I think, screw that. Let's just be ourselves, be authentically you. And you are fabulous.
Yes.
You're bitching. You're bitching.
Slay
all day, Susie.
Slay all day. Yes, let's talk about my attire because actually,
fabulous.
well, this episode's all about charity.
Charity, mate.
I now walk past shops, high street shops, clothing shops, and I glance inside and then I turn away. So I don't go inside.
You repulse me. Take those.
Yes, I repelled.
Take those linens away from me.
And I go straight into the charity shop next door and find amazing, unique items that no one else has, and then make me feel great. Look, so
you are living in Hove now, so I imagine there's a lot of lovely things in the charity shops.
There are. I've got a favourite couple of charity shops. There's a cracking load of charity shops in Portslade on Boundary Road.
Should you be sharing this? Because all of your attire may disappear from the shops. Everybody might suddenly be... There might be a mass countrywide scramble. We got there eventually.
Scramble. I love those words. Scumble's a great word.
There we go.
Yeah, that's never been used before.
Never been
said.
used.
You are the Roald Dahl of the modern times.
So it is, what is it? It's 10:44 and Esther Stanford has come up with the word scumble.
Scumble.
Log it, everybody, log it.
It's a new one. It's going into the Collins Dictionary.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. And I don't think everyone's going to rush. But I've also there's a fantastic one in Brighton called Martlet's, and there's a few Martlet's shops, and it's like a vintage store. They've done it out so I mean, it is quite more expensive than normal charity shops.
Yeah.
But all the items are absolute quality, and usually they are vintage. In fact, I don't know what I'm wearing. I'm wearing something today. I'm wearing this silky blouse. I'll actually stand up, so you can see. Can you see the bottom?
I can see your bottom.
It's sort of nipped in, and then it's lovely. And I've got a little jacket, which is I think Italian. Sport Italia. I mean, it's literally an Italian-made little jacket, which I'm putting on now. Look at that. Look at the collar.
At you.
Snazmataz,
ready for business.
And my trousers are from a lovely second-hand place in Rye called Through the Wardrobe.
That makes me think of Narnia.
Yes, I think that is the point.
It's lovely.
I now wear quite eclectic outfits. I mean, I've basically turned into someone who lives in Brighton.
Yes. But that's brilliant. You need to lean into that. It's a new I can't find words. I want to say incarceration, but I nearly said incineration.
Incarceration? I've been imprisoned.
What do I mean?
You
what
mean,
do I mean?
Incantation.
No. Masturbation. What is it? When you're like a new thing, it begins with N.
Yes.
Not revelation.
No.
The word they are flailing around for is incarnation. Less shopping, more reading, Mother.
I don't know, you're just new. I'm going to call you Percy, short for Persephone. That's it now. You're Brighton Suze, which means that old Suze is gone. This is a new chapter and you look like
I've been incarcerated in Brighton charity shops.
And the incantation.
I've done some incantations to bring down the gods of charity shops, and I am dressed as Persephone.
Persephone, aka Percy, hipster, coffee shop drinker.
I like to drink them coffee shops.
Susie, I can't form sentences. What's happening?
I mean, having said you're the Roald Dahl of the modern times, I think that freaked you out a bit. let's go back to Scumble.
Self-sabotaging.
I think you peaked with Scumble.
I think I did. I think the pressure of being the new Roald Dahl has sent me into some kind of self-sabotage, and that's it now. I can't form a sentence. I'm going to be mute for the rest of the
no, because I'm going to ask you a question now.
Oh, okay.
Because we are talking about charity. I have to say it like that. Charity mate.
Charity mate.
Was that
It was Smashy and Nicey.
Smashy and Nicey, mate.
You weren't Australian, but
I know, but I sound like she's Smashy and Nicey, mate. Charity shops, mate. All right, mate.
All right,
I think I've gone South African, mate.
South African, Smashy and Nicey.
South African. I'm sorry to anyone who's Australian, South African, or friends with Harry Enfield.
Hello, madam. Welcome to Sue's salon.
Hi, Sue. I've been here about 20 times.
Oh, right. My signature immemorable haircut for over 45s is working for you then. I get a tick.
You told me it was distinctive and sexy.
Bless. Right, sit down. How can I help you? To help others.
What?
It's Charity Sue Day. I change my name for 12 hours and you give money to the charity of my choice in exchange for the advice you usually get as a bonus extra.
More like unwarranted intrusion.
We don't speak French at Sue's salon. I'll assume you want the same haircut as everyone else and crack on. All my advice today is on how to raise money for charity, as I'm so good at it.
Oh, all right. I had been thinking about running a 10k for charity, actually.
Do you usually run?
Not really.
Then don't bother. You'll just fail to hit your targets and end up feeling useless. Next.
Well, I could do a squat challenge, 100 a day.
No one wants to see that. Keep your gluteus maximus under apsius.
How about a sponsored silence?
You're quiet enough as it is, love. You should do a sponsored speak louder.
Empowering women by making my voice heard.
Pipe down, little lady. You've not got the haircut for that.
Skydiving?
Have you made a will?
Bath of baked beans?
What do you think this is, the 90s?
Crocheting a scarf to wrap around Wolverhampton.
Crochet? Is that French?
Je ne sais pas.
You have been warned.
What have you done?
I've helped you raise money for charity. Don't worry, I've left a bit in the middle.
Oh, sod it! Grab the green dye in the hair gel. I'm going full punk. And find me a loud hailer. The world needs to know my self-sponsored silence is over.
Charity Sue gets another tick. Denise, I'm going for my break, all right? And get this lady an Aperol Spritz. She's a rock star.
So I'm going to ask you, have you ever done anything for charity?
No, I don't believe in it.
I mean, of course, I am constantly giving to charity with my charity shop purchases.
Absolutely. Well, this is actually, although this jumper, I went onto one of those vintage hauls. This probably doesn't count because that's just people that bought stuff, and then we bought like a bag of clothes, and I bought this red jumper. But I do sometimes buy from charity shops, not loads. I find it a bit overwhelming. I walk in, I'm just like, oh, I've got a rummage, and I just can't be arsed. I want people to present me stuff. But I used to shop in charity shops a lot. But when we said we were going to talk about charity, I remember when I was about 12 or 13, I went over on the step at the top of the stairs at home, and my dad took me to the doctors because we thought I'd fractured my ankle. So they put my leg in plaster for 3 weeks, and then the plaster broke, and they put it in plaster for another 6 weeks. So my leg was tiny and shriveled and like a small dense forest when it came out. But I got everybody to sign my leg plaster for comic relief and charged them a penny a letter, and it took me 8 years to send that bag of pennies off. It just sat in the corner of my room.
Oh my
gosh.
But
I remember doing that, charging everybody a penny a letter.
So you didn't take it to the bank and get it changed?
I did eventually, but it just sort of sat on as a thing on my to-do list for quite some time. But I've done Race for Lives. I've done 3 Race for Lives, one for my lovely Auntie Wendy, who died a couple of years ago, one for my lovely friend's mum after she passed away, and one because the kids wanted to do it.
Nice.
So I've done a few things like that, but I've never sort of dressed up for charity or anything like that. And I did used to sponsor a little girl in, where was she? Her name was Yensi. Oh, I can't remember.
Would it be Romania or somewhere?
No, her name was Yensi Yulibeth Remenza Lopez, I think. It was a few years ago, and I sponsored her for a few years. It was through Plan, and we would write to each other a little bit. And then we also had a little dog that we sponsored at the Dogs Trust. So I've done things
You've
like
done
that.
a lot.
I suppose that is a lot, isn't it?
It's a
yeah,
lot,
I'm
really.
pretty cool.
Yeah, you're pretty tremendous.
I think, I'm pretty special.
Yeah,
And I do
charity
often
work.
buy the big issue, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, what about you, Suze? What have you done for charity?
I've actually only done one Race for Life, but I have done other things like run 40 miles in March. Or 60 miles in January.
You went on
whatever.
a proper rampage with that. It was like every other month. You were like, right, I'm ready for. I was like, Christ, she's like Forrest Gump.
I know. I mean, I'm only motivated to run by other people's money.
Yes.
I did think to myself, I sort of have
Pay
to try and run without tapping my friends up for cash, although obviously for a good cause.
Yes.
I at school, because Comic Relief is still a big thing, and obviously we've just had Comic Relief a couple of weeks ago, and we are talking to Emma Freud, an integral part of the whole Comic Relief movement. And it was a huge thing when we were at school, and it was every year.
Yeah.
Because now it's every 2 years. But Children Needs every year, isn't it?
Yeah, Children Needs every year, and then it was Sport Relief, wasn't it? And then Comic Relief one year, Sport Relief the next.
Yes, they're still doing that, aren't they? But Children in Need wasn't as big at my school as Comic Relief.
And it was at mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe it was, I can't remember. I think it was more like cake sales and stuff. But Comic Relief was massive, and partly, I think, because it always fell on my birthday.
Yes.
Nearly always. This year it was the 21st of March, but it was always the 15th of March or so, 14th of March, something like that. And so I've often had a fantastic kind of non-uniform day experience on my birthday at school. And I did a sponsored silence one year. You can imagine how difficult that was.
Oh, God, yeah.
Very.
Horrendous.
I mean, my favourite thing I did was I was Alan Partridge for the day. I mean, I'm not sure. I was 17. It was the time of the day today. If anyone knows that show, where Alan Partridge kind of started, he was the sports commentator. Goal! And I loved the day today, and I was a big fan of Alan Partridge. So I dressed in a yellow shirt of my dad's with a sort of white collar, a golfing jumper. I mean, actually, that combination was probably something I wore day to day anyway.
Yes,
because that was in when I was 17 in the 1990s with Doc Martens and a pair of leggings, and I had black trousers, my school shoes, my hair slicked back. It was a bit longer, and I had to talk like Alan Partridge for the day, and I took a choir rehearsal.
Did you?
Yes, as Alan.
That's
right.
So ace.
So it was like, okay, we start on a B flat. Aha! That was great.
I love it. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm sure I'd love to find a picture of that. But I had to be Alan Partridge for the entire day.
Did you have to be, or did you choose to be?
I chose it.
How exciting!
And I think
love that.
My friend Flo was Chris Morris, so I was Alan Partridge. She was Chris Morris for the day.
Flo sounds.
So she
brilliant.
was in a big suit with big shoulder pads, and she was Chris.
Oh my God!
And then I met him. I met Steve Coogan.
Did you?
I worked with him very briefly on his show Saxondale.
Yes.
Quite a few years later, and he was introduced to me twice, I think. I was like, I've already met you. But I met him at lunch, then I met him in the car going to set, and he was like, hello, Susie. And I was like, oh my God. I wish I could just record that and have it as my ringtone.
So cool.
Hello, Susie.
That's very cool.
Yes. So, and I think did I tell him? I think I did tell him that I dressed as Alan
You've got
Partridge.
to tell him something like that, haven't you?
I'd like to meet him again. I'm going to manifest that. I'd like to work with him again.
I've never worked with him, but we've obviously, I know we've got a very close friend of ours has worked with him quite a bit as well. And he's somebody
and I've been him, so, you know.
And you've been him. You've literally lived as him for a day. I would totally be up for being somebody else a day. I remember once going to a friend's 18th birthday party, and I went as Margarita Prakatan. And I think I became slightly annoying after about the first hour because I literally didn't do anything not like Margarita Prakatan. And there was music playing, and I just remember I had a big feather boa on, and I was like, you gotta roll with it, you gotta take your time, you gotta say what you say, don't let anybody get in your way. And I think after about an hour, everyone was like, okay, it's not funny anymore, shut up. But I was so loving it.
Oh, I'd love to see a picture of
somebody else for the night.
Oh, yeah.
But I love those old, like when Comic Relief was on in the 80s and 90s when we were kids, and obviously it's still a massive thing now, but being a child with that and children needing it was proper event television.
But that's the thing. It's because actually everybody was watching it. Everybody was watching it because literally 4 channels. And that's the difference now, isn't it?
Yeah.
To then it really was everyone in the whole country
geared up
was
for
doing
it.
something for Comic Relief, and I hope it does get as much traction now. I think it does.
Yeah, me too. I mean, definitely the Red Noses are so brilliant, but also there was always the Comic Relief song, wasn't it? La La Leanie Noo Noo and Bananarama, and also
I've got the Hale and Pace one.
Well, that's it. Stick a chicken in the air, stick a deck chair up your nose,
no, that's
fly
not.
a jumbo jet, and then bury all your clothes.
No, that's Spitting Image.
Is it?
That wasn't Comic Relief.
Which one was Comic Relief?
Well, there's quite a few. There's one
loads.
French and Saunders did.
Yes.
I've got the Stomp song by Hale and Pace.
Stomp. That's it.
I've got it somewhere. I'll try and find the. I've got the 7-inch. Single.
Yes. Oh, I have to dig it out. I mean, the one that really stands out for me, though, is the La La Nini Noo Noo one, because I just thought that was brilliant. And I was always such a big French and Saunders fan. But it was all just proper, like the whole country. It's almost like Christmas, that everyone's energetically gearing up for the same thing. And then the whole day would be, like you say, non-uniform day. And
I used to love
it.
Yeah, I used to love watching Lenny Henry.
Yes.
What was that character he played? Delroy, I don't know, I can't remember the name, but I found him incredibly sexy.
Did you?
With this kind of like Elvis style outfit, and it's kind of hairy chest.
Yes, that wasn't Delroy. What was his name? I can't think. The character he was Delroy.
Mr. Lover. It was like really kind of,
Yeah. So him and Alan Titchmarsh are on your list, are they, Suze?
Yeah, totes. Yeah, I have actually worked with Lenny Henry.
Have you?
Yeah, and
how am I only finding this out now?
Really, I must have told you, but it was a radio. It was an audio radio comedy that he wrote and was in, called Rudy's Rare Records, that ran for quite a few.
I do know this.
You do know this. That ran for quite a few series. I went along because I was a member of the radio drama company at the time, and I went along to the read through of a couple of episodes to stand in to play a small part, but also to stand in for one of the leading actresses. And I decided that it would be a good idea to do it in a Jamaican accent.
Did you?
I said, because of the way it was written, it would have been really weird for me to be doing my, hello,
yes,
what's going on? Yeah.
Yes. We both felt the same. What go on?
What go on? But all that stuff. So I said, look, I'm going to try and do it. And they did find it very amusing. And it kind of did veer, it was Indian, it was Welsh. I mean, there were occasionally I nailed it, but I think I did get quite a lot of kudos for that. They did find, Lenny Henry did find it amusing. Thank
did he?
The Lord. I just thought I'm just going to go for it, guys. But it had to be read like that, and then they did get me into the show, and I did do play 2 smaller roles live in front of the live studio audience in the BBC Broadcasting House Radio Theatre. That was great. That was really great.
That's very cool. And he's a Midlands boy as well, isn't he? We're going to be talking to another of your famous colleagues in a bit with Ms. Emma Freud.
We are. I'm very excited.
I'm very excited.
And I hope you're all excited too. You just have to wait a few more minutes for that. Well, shall we go?
Should we go? Should we do one whilst I can still form a sentence?
Should we go to a charity shop? We'll go to a charity shop and have a scumble through the...
Let's have a scumble in the charity shop.
Through the bundles.
Aha! And now, on limited time only, it's time for Doreen, the horrendous voice inside your head. My word, lady, what a day you have had. So incredibly stressful. 2.5 hours on hold listening to a Muzak version of Burt Bacharach whilst they're trying to sort out your broadband. I mean, it's disgusting, isn't it? And you know what? I know you've put on £15 in the last 3 months and we don't know why, but I think you should have some more of that chocolate from out of the fridge.
I know it's your son's and I know he's 6, but he won't miss it. You know he has too much sugar anyway. Go on, have a little square. Go on, have a little square. You deserve it. Oh, my goodness, there's nothing quite like that in the world, is there? Go on, quick, have a strip whilst no one's looking. Quick, gobble it up before someone comes. Oh, God, chocolate's just better than sex, isn't it? Better than sex. That's it. That's it. Do you like it? Do you like it? Because you deserve it. You deserve it. You fat cow! No wonder you're putting on all this weight. I'm absolutely disgusted with you. Have you got no willpower? I mean, one tiny bit of stress and you're straight into the chocolate again. You disgust me.
Okay, Pam, we'll go in 3, 2, 1, action.
Hello, and welcome to Pam Spam Hacks Up Your Life.
Cut.
What?
Pam, it's life hacks.
Pam Spam's life sucks.
Hacks, like shortcuts.
I don't approve of shortcuts. Ready-rolled pastry tastes of lazy.
Hacks are just like ways to improve your life.
My life is exceptionally acceptable, young lady.
Their lives, your listeners.
Oh, well, yes. I can imagine their lives do hack.
Suck.
Sucking is for the toothless. Well, life hacks it is. Let's go again.
Slay.
Now, I draw the line at murder.
Oh.
Not on a Thursday, anyway.
For hack's sake. Action.
We made it. Oh, Anna,
Well done.
2 seconds. Can you also bring the kittens down?
Kittens?
I need to see the kittens.
Today's guest is the legendary Emma Freud OBE, a powerhouse in broadcasting, film and fundraising. She's a cultural commentator, broadcaster, script editor and producer behind 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Notting Hill, Love Actually and my personal favourite, About Time. She's also a driving force behind Comic Relief, helping to raise millions. Over her incredible career, Emma has interviewed David Attenborough, Mary Berry, Al Pacino and many more, hosted art shows, written for top publications and is the great-granddaughter of Sigmund Freud. We recorded this episode a couple of weeks ago on Comic Relief's 40th anniversary, making it the perfect time to reflect on her incredible contribution. We chat to Emma about her broadcasting journey, staying open to new opportunities, hosting the Archers podcast and how much the Archers means to her, plus parenting, surreal career moments and family history. And as a special bonus, her husband Richard Curtis pops in and so do their kittens. Welcome to the show, Emma Freud.
My name's Esther, by the way. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you. Are you Welsh?
No, I'm not. I've got more Irish in me than Welsh. Well, I might have a bit
Did
of
you
Welsh.
sound Welsh then? Did you say hello?
Hello, I'm Esther.
I'm Esther. Nice to meet you.
Do you know what? If I talk into ChatGPT, it assumes I'm Welsh. So there must be something I'm doing in, I don't know what
Also,
it is.
you look like that beautiful girl, Eve. What's her name?
Oh, Eve Miles,
Miles.
you do. Oh my God, you
kittens
do
and
look like her.
compliments. This is marvellous.
This is Teddy, and he's the king of the litter. And I adore him. He's so sweet. And this is Mary.
Oh, Mary.
And you have to say Mary like that because she's named after not the woman on Gogglebox, but the way the man says Mary.
Giles and Mary.
What does he call her as well? What does he call her?
Nutty.
all the time? Nutty.
Nutty. But my son is obsessed with having a kitten and he's been nagging me to have a cat for years. So I'm going to...
We've got
Sorry.
one. I've got one spare.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you want one of the kittens?
My son has been nagging me for a cat. He's 16. He's just gone 16. He's been nagging me for a cat for about 10 years on a daily basis.
They're teenagers because they confide in the cats in the way they can't confide with you. This is Sabrina. And
Sabrina Thwaite.
Sabrina Thwaite, yeah.
She's gorgeous.
Oh,
Beautiful, isn't she?
That's Sabrina Thwaite. Esther is a silent character in The Archers.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us and giving us your time on what I imagine must be an incredibly busy day for you, as it's Comic Relief Day. So we really appreciate it. And we have been researching you a lot, and quite frankly, we don't know where to start because you are literally the original portfolio woman. We're like, well, she's directed, she's acted, she's sung with Tubular Bells in Europe, she's hosted breakfast shows, she hosts shows,
Directed
she's
Ray
a broadcast, she's a journalist, yeah, she's directed Ray Fiennes, she's produced some of the best films we've ever made in England. Like, what the hell?
I was like, for God's sake, why? Why is she so talented?
Do you ever sit down? Is my first question.
Just stop the interview now and just put that out. That will do me. That will be my CV. That's the little QR code I'll have on my gravestone. Just the last 45 seconds of you talking. All I can do now is disappoint. So why don't we just stop?
Oh no, not at all. It's incredible the things you've done already in your life. It's just amazing. When you were young, obviously you're from a family that's incredibly creative, incredibly artistic. And when you were a child, did you want to go into the arts?
Yes, I did. I wanted to be, more than anything in the whole world, I wanted to be a Blue Peter presenter.
You'd have been great.
Yeah.
Well, do you know, weirdly, eventually I did actually audition for it. And I got a recall, but I disliked the auditions so much that I didn't go.
Do you regret not doing Blue Peter then? Do you regret it?
No, I don't at all because, well, yeah, in some ways I do. But I had, so I began in kids' TV shows. So I did a show for children's television. It was called the Children's Channel in those days. It was one of the very early, Here's a Kitten.
Oh my God.
And I did that for 2 years and nobody watched it, literally nobody. It was about 8 people in Wales. All the channel cable TV viewers in those days were in Wales. And so I was able to properly learn my trade without anybody talking about it or pointing it out. I could point it out to myself, and I learned how to be a TV presenter in those 2 years. It was a daily show. And by the time I stopped doing it, I sort of knew how to do it. And I don't think I could ever have had that experience in broadcast. I would have taken a job, been awful, had a terrible review, and resigned and, gone into surveying instead. But as it was, I was allowed to fail, and I really failed, and then I got better. So that was the most valuable thing I think I could have done in my early days.
Do you think that being allowed to fail is something that has been lost over time?
100%. You can't even fail at being a schoolgirl anymore, can you? I mean, you can barely fail at getting dressed up for a disco on a Friday night. I mean, I think the judgmental nature of what we've allowed our world to become has changed the nature of the decisions that we make, of the bravery, the braveness that we allow ourselves to try and, face. I think it's a very, very different scope. My kids are now in their 20s. I'm so glad I don't have little kids at the moment. I would not know how to help them navigate what they're having to navigate.
Yeah, because actually that's the thing, is that everything, whereas in some ways it's great, you can be a YouTuber, you can practice being a broadcaster in some way, but then you've got to face the fact that there'll be people talking about it and commenting and chipping in on, and that's probably something that's reasonably recent. That ability for anybody to put their 2 pence worth.
Well, I saw something the other day that said there's no deference anymore, because basically kids are allowed to speak to teachers however they want, but they can also put their opinions everywhere. So there's no one's sort of accountable for anything. And I've got an 18 and a 16-year-old, a daughter and a son. And I do know it's very different, and they don't go out as much. And my son's suddenly got incredibly self-conscious, but not in the way that I did at that age. It's more like he's losing social skills because nobody goes out. So I'm trying to get him into clubs and things like that. It's hard to watch. It's hard to see. And some friends of mine and we were looking at photographs of us at that age going to a school disco thing. Oh my God, we look awful. I mean, we've rolled our hair. It's all over the place. We just look, we were like, what were we doing? And we remember walking in and some of the boys were like, hey girls, looking good. And now, I mean, they all look like supermodels at 14, 15, 16, don't they? And it's such a different age. So the fact that you could have that time and fail is so important, isn't it?
But are you saying that your son and that generation are going out less?
Yeah, my son, it's not even that I discourage him from going out. It's that none of his friends really go out, and he wants to go out. And we watch films like The Goonies. They always say they wish they'd grown up in the 80s, my two. They always say, I wish I'd been out on my bike, but none of his friends really go out. So consequently, he doesn't go out. And it's just really, and we watched videos of him as a little boy recently, and he was so full of life. And hi. Lovely to meet you.
Hello.
You've got a puppet.
Seems to be making a very important point.
She was.
Yeah.
It really concerns me, actually. And I had a walk with my son about 12 months ago. Unfortunately, we were very open with each other. And he said, startlingly, I mean, he's so emotionally intelligent, but he said, I keep getting these videos sent to me and I'm a white man. And I said, what's the problem? Well, people don't like white men. They don't like them. And I'm a white man and I don't understand. And actually women don't like men, do they? And I thought, oh my Christ, what the hell's happened here? So we're having quite open conversations, but he's gone quite withdrawn. And so I keep sort of trying to lure him out. And we watched these videos of him as a little boy. Of both my children as little children the other day. And they were so full of life and so exuberant. My daughter's still fine. But my son said, he doesn't use social media very much, but he said, occasionally I get these messages of that just come to me of car crashes on people dying or people being beheaded. And he's so full of potential and it's being crushed by these sort of Andrew Tate type figures. And I'm really keeping a very close eye on him.
Also, he's now going to be mortified because his mum's talked about him on a podcast.
I know.
I was going to say, this interview's gone dark. Look, we've got Richard Curtis. Come on.
All I was just going to say is that it was really interesting. We were talking to our 23-year-old last night, and he said he's glad he's not the 21-year-old.
Yeah.
Just 2 years difference even then. So I think it is moving at a very fast pace.
But that's why I'm so glad they've done adolescence and they're highlighting this stuff because people don't understand. Oh my God.
This is why we have kittens.
No, it's not.
Yes.
You're a very bad person on this podcast.
Pushing my kittens.
Well,
God.
Not only that, but just distracting from its serious purpose.
No, well,
it's Red Nose Day.
It's Red Nose Day. We're wearing red. I mean, this podcast, honestly, this podcast its tagline is a pick-me-up in podcast form. So we need to come on, Esther. We need to stick to that.
I've got a retro one as well that my daughter dug out for me.
Karate one.
That is so great, and comic relief and those kind of activities are one of the answers. While I'm getting gloomy about all this, the thing I think is, well, the answer's got to be to just do some things that aren't those things. I
thought the answer was that you go to Heathrow and look at the people coming in off the arrivals.
Wow. You're right. You must be so busy today, Comic Relief Day.
Well, this is my first time not being very busy because I've stepped back, but I'm certainly giving away a lot of money on text. That's what I'd say to Jamie Lang, who, my piece of advice to him is try not to die before you finish. But
just make it a bit sad.
Would be a great.
But by the way, I do think my boys, this is the last thing I'm going to say, they're finding organised, informal sport activity as the thing that's making them really happy. One of them goes and plays basketball. The other one's found a sort of chaotic football team. And that seems to have an unexpectedly high joy factor.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's a non-judgmental forum.
Yeah.
And also it's not interesting enough.
And also, people they don't know and that sense of faith. There was the thing that came out the other day saying 2 days ago in The Guardian saying the kindness of strangers is underestimated by 50%, that they've done a thing where they kind of had people deliberately drop their wallets and everyone thought that 50% of people would return them, but 80% of people did return them. The other thing about happiness that I would say is that thing we were talking about yesterday. They've done that, which is the happiest country chart, and it's Finland again. But they said the single factor that seems to most contribute to happiness is families eating together.
Yeah. Yes.
Isn't that weird? The kind of let your problems out, have a bit of laugh about communal things. I was really puzzled that was the...
Or get a cat. You can go now.
Yeah, I'm off.
Oh,
Nice to meet you, Richard.
And you, thank you.
I must say, when we have dinner together as a family, when we sit around the table every night, but my family get wound up by me because I'll say, what 3 things have happened to you today that were really good? And we do that every night. Sometimes they're like, oh God, shut up now.
I just have to break up fights between the 6-year-old and 10-year-old.
You're also way young.
Fist fights. So it's not that great. Anyway, back to you, Emma Freud. Hello.
The kitten, by the way, Esther, that I was holding up, that's the one who's available.
Oh my God, is it?
And his name is Pedro Porro. I don't know where he's
Pedro Porro's available.
Yeah, when he's not being a kitten in my house, he plays for Spurs. He's really
talented. You see, he's with the program. You know, he's out meeting other cats, playing football.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He'll teach James.
So you have 3 children? 3 children or 4 children? 4 children. I mean, for a start off, respect.
Just sort of, what was I thinking?
I mean, you've managed all of that we said, plus having 4 children really is the most tricky of all of those things.
By
a long way.
Miles. And also, when I was younger, at 18, I left home to go to university, and that was sort of it. Like, I think my parents knew where I was at university, but not that they came or anything. But other than that, it was like, end of. Whereas it turns out that isn't how it works anymore. I kind of had 4 children thinking it'll be a very full-on, 25 years. Well, it turns out it's going to be a very full-on 65 years.
Mm. Are they still living at home? Anybody still living at home?
Yeah, I've got a couple at home, but it's just a different thing. I think we parent in a different way. And whereas my parents' parenting sort of stopped, parenting now doesn't stop, does it? You go on being a parent to them in their 20s and probably in their 30s. I don't know.
I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, I actually did live at home till I was 29, I think.
Did you?
Well, I was an actor. I'm an actor, and I didn't earn very much. I don't earn very much. And
manifest it, Susie. I earn loads of money.
I earn so much money. It's crazy. I was doing tours and things, and it was nice to be able to go back. And I mean, I didn't ever feel like my mum was trying to push me out or anything, but I do think about it with my kids. And Henry, my 6-year-old, says to me that he's going to live at home with me forever. But Beatrice says she's never going to have a boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband or wife. She's going to live on another continent in an apartment with 2 cats and a dog.
Sounds good to me.
I was like, oh, that's interesting, Bea. Why are you trying to get so far away? Why are you trying to get so far away from me? Anyway, but yeah, so parenting 4 children and coping with your career. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's the big question, isn't it? I mean, it was very, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was expecting. 4 children in 8 years just felt like what I had to do. And although I never worked full time for any of that period, I never didn't work. I was based at home most of the time, doing comic relief for most of those years. When I had my first kids, I used to be a TV presenter, and I stopped doing that really when I had the kids, because that didn't work at all, not just logistically, but also emotionally. It's not, when I was being a mum, I was not at the height of my presenting powers or my intellectual powers or my kind of beach body powers,
energy powers.
And so I did other work. I did a lot of radio, I did a lot of writing, and I did comic relief, and I was the creative director there for forever. And that sort of worked along with having kids. But then I'm sorry, we've got the building again now. Do you want to wait? Can you hear it?
I can hear it, but
no one is just putting in a gap. There's a gap.
Okay.
Tap
gap.
Yeah. Nope.
Stop tap gap.
I'm back. Did you talk about me while I was gone? Did you?
We said nice things.
Get the cat. Get the cat.
Get the cat.
Have you got a garden?
Yes.
And a dog.
I've got a dog though. That's the only thing.
He slept with dogs every single night of his entire life.
Really? Do you know what's weird is that my son has always said he'd like a cat. Well, actually, I can't remember if it was Pedro or Pablo. He always said that's what he'd called his first. I think it was Pablo. Actually,
come
not Pedro,
on,
but it's
come
no, it's
on.
Pablo. He always says Pablo. Like
Yeah,
that.
but Pablo and Pedro are.
Pedro will not know his name's been changed to Pablo.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
they're both Spanish
we-
names, right?
Yes,
Esther, this is really weird.
it is.
She is
really
quite
weird.
weird, Emma. She does have kind of do 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 do. It's and this is this. Anyway, back to
What was I
creative
saying?
director of Comic Relief.
Yes.
Yeah, so running that and working mostly from home all worked. But then my daughter got very sick for a very long time. And so the kind of focus of being in the home was really all that mattered. So, the work that I could do from home, I did do from home. When we were on set, I would only go to set when the kids were at school. I'd sort of the school runs before and after, So I've always just wangled the two of them together. But it's been, I never worked it out. I never got it right. It was something that I had to reassess every week, I would say. Just go, got the balance all wrong again this week, need to pull back on that. Got the balance all wrong again, need to up that. It was never an easy thing. And I remember thinking, my daughter will not have this. It cannot be like this for the next generation. There has to be something that changes. And I think, one of those things, and I'm seeing it with my kind of godchildren now who are having kids, is that there's much more of a 50-50 split between the men and the women. I really hadn't. When I first had Scarlett, I couldn't believe that it was on me. That Richard, who was the most open and, sensitive and thoughtful and progressive of men, it was still like, I'm going to work and you kind of aren't. I mean, he never said that, but that was just sort of how it panned out. He wasn't breastfeeding.
Yeah, that's it. It's a physical. It's something I've thought about a lot with the babies, and I think, well, actually, even if I wanted to, and I kind of didn't as well, because they've just come out, because we're mums. It is hard, and then inevitably you have to take a back seat, and then it's hard. You lose. Did you ever feel like you'd lost confidence, particularly, I suppose, in a presenting role? Because did you take a step back from being in front of or the mic, well, behind the mic or in front of the camera? I
did to a large extent. I mean, yes and no on the confidence thing. Everything gets thrown up in the air when you have kids and when you're a mum. And I remember going to do a voiceover at one point when the kids were very tiny. I think I had 2 under 2 or something, and they sent a car to pick me up, and then when I got out of the other end of the studio, someone said, "Would you like a coffee?" And I burst into tears, and it was like a car and a coffee. Whereas this morning I was pushing the double buggy round Tesco's and being shouted at for the fact that my children were crying and disturbing the other shoppers. And nobody opened the door for me, and nobody, helped me cross it. And now you're going, here's a car and here's a coffee. And so I don't understand the world anymore. I'm so confused. I don't know where I'd sit in the middle of all of this.
Yeah.
It's like that episode of Motherland, isn't it, as well? I always really related to that first one where they're calling Julia and she's, do you have my husband's number? Because I'm about to go into a meeting, but it's the mother that gets called all the time, isn't it? My daughter was putting in her university application for halls of residence yesterday, one point of contact, and she put me, which I want her to, but also it is definitely better. My husband does sort of like 95% of the cooking and stuff like that, but there still is, it's the mother that has to sort of try and fit all the bits and take the emotional load of the children as well. Obviously you say Scarlett was poorly, and I know a bit about that, but it's almost the weight of that falls on your shoulders, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's when it falls on the shoulders without there ever being a discussion about it. I think now, and for the next generation, the discussions are there. All of that will be changing. It has to be changing, but it wasn't easy.
And we go talking about your family, because Esther and I were like, oh my God, I mean, what happens when you get in a room together? Does it explode? Because it's just off the scale. All levels of brilliant. They're all different types of brilliant. I mean, how is it? Because you're kind of all radiating brilliance. That's what I'm imagining. Just an energetic powerhouse.
We're not all energetic. We don't get in a room very often. Like my dad and his brother Lucian didn't speak for the whole of my life. Like I was never alive in a time when they were speaking to each other, and now they're both dead. And he has 15 kids or something, and many of whom are friends of ours. But that was, you know, that was a very big rift in our family. So it's healing now, but that's been sort of a strange thing. And I'm one of 5 kids, and we don't meet up. You know, we live in different countries, so you know it doesn't often come together like that. I do think I don't understand our family at all. I mean, one thing I knew when I had children was that I was not going to give them my name. That it was not something I wanted to give to anybody I loved.
Because it almost comes with a label, doesn't it? It tells people think they know something about you as you walk into a room.
Yeah, I mean, all of the above. It just, you know, it's got a lot of baggage in it. And it's very strange. My dad was Sigmund Freud's grandson, and he really felt uncomfortable about that. Wasn't something that he took any pride in, or he thought it was an unfair, you know, he didn't want to be someone else's grandson. He didn't want to cash in on their coattails, whatever the phrase is. And so for the whole of our childhoods, there wasn't one book about Sigmund Freud. There wasn't any discussion about him. You couldn't say his name in our house without there being an uncomfortable silence. It was a no-go area. It was like he was a, you know, just an unspoken about thing that no one spoke about. And one day my sister came back from the convent where we were all sent because we're obviously all good Jewish girls. And she said the nuns mentioned someone called Sigmund Freud. She was about 7. Who is he? And my dad said, oh, that is embarrassing, actually. He was my grandfather. He was well known because he invented the flush toilet. So if anybody mentions his name again, just change the subject. And so she believed that until she was in her teens. But, you know, with that level of kind of weirdness going on.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So let's talk about your work. What's been the work that you've enjoyed the most and currently enjoy to do the most?
Well, possibly the best job I've ever done is the one I'm doing at the moment.
Oh, wow. And what is it? A film or?
No, it's the Archers podcast. Occasionally starring Susie Riddell. Don't know if you're aware of her. It's the first ever official BBC podcast about the Archers. I've loved the Archers since Rob and Helen. The idea that my job is to think about, explore, research, investigate, and then talk about my favorite radio show on the planet is like, I didn't know jobs could be like that. I didn't know that sort of experience could happen in a professional context. It's so wonderful. It's sort of 3 days a week for me. Researching it all and doing it and listening, and it's bringing me joy in every single. I just want to pay them. I don't.
Emma, it's brilliant. You are brilliant. A brilliant host for the show. I have taken part in a few of them, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. But also listening to them, because it's fascinating for me as well, because of the guests that you're getting on in terms of the behind the scenes guests. Rob Rinder was doing it when I was, and he discussed the justice system because George Grundy got sent to prison, and that was, it's fascinating. Who have you got on tonight?
Tonight we've got a really interesting, because George is now in prison, we've got a really lovely chap who runs a helpline for prisoners to help them navigate the prison system, and he's there talking about prison visiting, the pros and cons of it, how it helps with reoffending numbers. I mean, it helps lower the reoffending rates in Britain. The more visits you have, the less reoffending happens in this country. And just all the different factors of how a prisoner copes and how George, therefore, is going to be coping in prison at the age of 19, surrounded by hardened criminals. It's so interesting.
It is interesting. And it really, because what it does is highlight how detailed the Archers is and how realistic the storylines are, because, you know, people who don't listen to it, I don't know what they think it is. They just think it's about cows.
It's about cows and about farmers with bits of corn in their mouth. No, it's just everything. It's the whole of human life is there, and that's why I adore it, because like, as well as this guy who actually is an advisor to the Archers team on prison conditions, we've also got Mark Pugach, who's the sports commentator for ITV, big sports presenter, talking about cricket in the Archers and why it's such an important game. And also what he did say was so interesting. He said that cricket is the perfect game for radio and for the Archers, because unlike football and rugby and tennis and all, you know, so many sports where the action happens on the pitch, with cricket the action happens behind the pitch. The action happens with the bowlers waiting to go on, the batsmen waiting to go on, the people making the tea, the people having the tea, the people talking about the tea they've just had.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's a very, very rich sidelines world as opposed to being a rich on-pitch world.
Yes.
Perfect radio.
Yeah. And Tracy's favourite sport. We have actually got, and maybe we should do this now because we're talking about the Archers.
Yeah, seems apt.
I actually contacted some of my friends from the Archers on our little WhatsApp group. I need to find it now. And several of them have sent me some questions for you. So I hope you don't mind. I thought we'd turn the tables because Emma's asking us questions every week. And I thought it'd be nice for us to ask you some. So the first one is from, in fact, there's two. It's really good questions. From Helen Longworth, who plays Hannah, the big woman, big lady, the pig gal. She says, I'd like to ask Emma who her snog, marry and avoids are in Ambridge.
Oh, so easy.
Well, I know I think I know the answer to some of this.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, I'll snog Harrison any day of the week.
And the actor. Yeah.
He's so delicious. He's up in Sheffield at the moment, or doing some spying for the police or something. So he's not around so I'm missing him a lot. But he's just the most gorgeous of chaps. And also, because he came on the show, we email each other a little bit now. It's really nice. Don't tell Richard. He emails in exactly the same way that he talks. I mean, maybe we all do, but he talks so weirdly, and his emails are absolutely fucking hilarious. Sorry to swear. He's all like, all right, love.
James Cartwright. Yeah, in real life.
Brilliant.
Okay, that's snog.
No, I'd snog Harrison the copper. I would marry. Oh, good question. I'm quite keen on Chris because he's a blacksmith.
Yeah.
And I've always found that to be deeply attractive as a profession. I've done blacksmithing courses. I know. It's
another thing.
Yeah.
I want to know what you haven't done at the end of this. Right.
Well, I used to do a column where I talked about things that spark joy, and it was just an excuse to go and do all sorts of activities that, you know. So I did a lot of woodwork and I did some ironmongery and anyway. Chris, but hang on, I think I can do possibly better than Chris. Hang on, give me a choice of three.
Brian, Ben Archer.
No.
Vince. He's got a lot of wonga.
No, I'm going to stick with Chris.
I think Chris is a good bet.
Yeah.
I think he's solid.
And then avoid, Natasha, because she's a monster, and she's a monster who doesn't even know she's a monster. And she's also one of my favorite characters in the world. I just adore her, and I love disliking her, but she makes me so angry, and it gets a kind of visceral reaction out of me, and I want to punch her in the face, and I want Tom to leave her because he's such a dishcloth. He just doesn't seem to realize what a controlling piece of work she is. And yes, her.
That's brilliant, and it's just testament to Mally Harris's brilliant portrayal.
Amazing.
She is amazing. And Welsh. It's a very Welsh theme today on the podcast. And Helen's other question is, if you could go in as a completely new recurring character, what would it be? That's hard. That's a hard one to put you on the spot with, but...
No, I'd want to work with you in The Bull. And I'd want to be a woman who actively looked to have affairs with married men. Because in doing the research and looking at the archives for the Archers in the way that I have done, it's the stories like Siobhan and Brian that you just kind of can't believe what you're hearing. And Brian, when we had him on the show, was saying that Siobhan was an affair that lasted over 2 years, I think. And for the whole of the 2 years, until the point that it came out that he was having an affair with her, that was a secret only known by Siobhan, Brian, and 5 million listeners. And the idea that as listeners, you're party to something that everybody else who you're hearing talking about doesn't know, this huge thing that you know. I want more storylines like that. So I want to be the absolute hussy who goes in and shags all the boys.
Would you like to go in and write on it? Would you ever do anything like that?
I would love to script edit on it. I'm quite good as a script edit. I'm not great as a writer. I tried to, Richard and I had a great idea for our next film. And Richard said, you start it, which I've never done before. It's always been him. And I sat down and a week later I went, I'm not doing that anymore. I can't do this. You do it and I'll edit it and I'll
cut out the slack. Yeah.
Yeah, but also I love pushing the direction and I love, he's all for the toilet humor and I'm for the what does it mean? What's the purpose? What are we actually saying? What point are we making? And that dynamic works very well in our house, but it doesn't work on its own.
Be great for you to be guest script editor for
yes, that's a good idea. Before we go back to the Archers questions, just a little aside. Did you script edit About Time or co-produce it? Yeah, that's one of my favourite films. I adore it. Oh my God.
Are the ones we made.
I adore it. We regularly watch it. If it's Mother's Day or something, I just get free reign in the house. And so I will always say, can we watch About Time? And my kids adore it. And I've told a few friends to watch it and they said I can only watch it once because it devastated me. But I just think it's the most beautiful film and it really makes me... I am quite an appreciative person of life every day anyway, but there's just something about it.
I'm really chuffed. Thank you very much. Can I tell you something about Time?
Yes, please do.
Remember there's a little scene very near the end of the film where Bill Nighy is about to die and he says he wants to do one thing before he dies.
Yes.
And one thing he chooses to do is go back in time and play on the beach with his son at the age of 8. And they skim stones together just for half an hour and then that's it. That little boy on the beach, little Donal Gleeson, that was my son.
Oh, God. As you're talking about it, and
I could see you were going before. You were going when you were talking about it.
I
Esther.
know. It's just,
honestly,
it's just beautiful. It's so lovely. And I think it just, that appreciation for life and relishing every minute. Oh, God, I'm going to talk about the Archers because I'm starting to cry.
One of our guests, Sam Sweeney,
didn't he play? He was in About Time.
A wedding scene.
No, underground. Well, a wedding, and then he's in the underground with How Long Will I Love You?
What, singing it?
No, he's a fiddler with Bellowhead.
Whoa, really? So he's been on the pod, yeah. So I cried at him as well.
Yeah. So we interviewed him. We had him on last year. But he talked about that. We're talking about the Archers, and for any of our listeners who are listening to this who don't listen to the Archers, what are you doing?
Listen to it.
Why? Why not? You're missing out. And hopefully this is encouraging you to listen. So this question is from Charlotte Martin, who plays my radio sister, Susan Carter. She says, if you could write a dramatic storyline, to put you on the spot, involving 2 characters, who would it be and what would it be about? Or maybe who would you like to write a storyline for?
It's a great question from a great woman. I would love to see a disability storyline in the Archers. I know there have been ones before, but I don't think they've sort of majored on them massively. I know, who was it? Someone's got a cleft palate.
Oh yes, that was a surprise. I can't remember. It's not me. I don't care. No.
Screw 'em.
But I would love to, if Emma and Will had another baby and that baby had, was Down syndrome or needed to have a wheelchair or, something, it would be, or cerebral palsy, I would find that absolutely extraordinary, because the idea that you could follow a disability story from birth, possibly even from pregnancy, and go through to adulthood, I think would do more. I mean, my life views have been changed by the Archers. I understand coercive control relationships in a way that I had never understood them before because of the Helen and Rob story. I'm understanding the criminal justice system in a way that I really hadn't taken it on board, what the effect it has on family, all of that because of the George story. And I think to be able to educate in a soft educate way the British public about the absolute realities of having a child with a disability, and then an adult with a disability, and then a reproductive adult with a disability, I mean, just to properly be able to go through a lifespan like that, I think would be extraordinary.
Yeah. Mike, I don't know if you know this, but Mike and Vicky, Tucker's daughter, has Down syndrome. And then they moved to Birmingham when she was about a year old to be nearer a specialist. This is from Yasmin. Oh my God. Yasmin, who plays Dr. Azra Malik. Yes, brilliant as well. I love hearing her. I just totally believe everything she says. It's fantastic.
Did you hear Zainab on our show the other day?
Not yet.
Oh, she's good.
I love her. She's such a lovely person.
She was on with Asma Khan, who is a chef and a very, very spiritual woman. And they were so good together.
Oh, yeah, I need to catch up with that. Okay, so Yasmin asked, has meeting your Ambridge actors, the Archers actors, dented your fantasies, disillusioned you, or enhanced the listening experience?
That's a great question. I didn't think anything could enhance my listening experience of the Archers, because, when you love something completely, you love it completely. But I now love it more than completely. Listening to the Archers and knowing the richness and the work and the complexity and the planning that goes into every episode, and having met the actors and understanding the where they're coming from and what they're bringing to it and what they feel about their parts and what they feel about the show, and where they battle with it and where they love it, and even just knowing how the sound effects are made and what has to go into someone drinking a cup of tea while reading a script, while patting someone else on the head, all of that. It's only made it better. Like, it was always silence in my house between 7:02 and 7:15, and now it's like you can't even walk in here. You need to get out. This is not only my happy place, this is now my place of sanctity.
Oh, that's lovely. And I think you might have answered this one, but Emerald O'Hanrahan, who plays Emma Grundy, asked...
I've got such a crush on her.
Oh God, me too. How did you first start listening, and have you had any breaks? And Ryan, who plays Jazza, asked...
I've never met. They're keeping us apart.
Well, you need to meet him. He's a delight, and you need to get him to sing for you, because that man has a voice. He asked he said he knows you've been listening to it for a while, but what was the storyline that drew you in? And I think you said the Helen and Rob storyline.
I've been on and off, most of my life, but it was Helen and Rob that hooked me in hugely, and I haven't missed it really since then. Which I wasn't true before. I was one of those really annoying people who, when people go, I'm in and out, it's like, shut up. It's like being in and out of feminism or something,
Yes. Well, I mean, the number of times I say, what do you do? I do various things, and I'm in a program called The Archers on Radio 4. I've lost count of the number of people say, I've never watched it.
Never watched it.
They apologise to me. I'm like, honestly, it's fine. I get paid anyway. It really doesn't matter. There's 6 million other people who are listening to it. I mean, none of them are in my family, but other than that, it's fine.
Do you know, Emma? I was nearly Helen Archer twice.
No.
I was about Oh no! When I was 11 or 12, I went and it was basically my part, and I auditioned a couple of times, and I went to Pebble Mill, and I had the tail end of a cold, and I couldn't stop coughing, and so I lost it. And then I went back again when I was 17, got called in again when they recast her, and I got down to the last two again. And but I didn't get it. So I was very nearly twice. The first time I just couldn't stop coughing. It was mortifying, you know, and it's just got this tickle, and I could see my potential mother's face sort of. Yeah, it was horrible.
Oh, so Pat
Archer, yeah.
So Pat Gallimore. So actually, Helen was played by somebody else when I was Kate, Helen was played by somebody else.
There was no one who was a child on the Archers who's now that adult, is there?
No.
Yes.
Is there?
Holly,
Sure.
who plays Alice.
Really?
Yeah, she's been in it since she was 11.
No way. I haven't had her yet either.
She's great.
Wow. My favourite comment when I first got the job was I put it on Instagram that I was doing it, and a friend of mine in America wrote and said, "Oh, how exciting, I'm going to catch up. How long ago was season 1?" It's like, 1951.
75 years? 75 years. Oh, not available on Sounds.
We're still on season 1 though. That's a fantastic thing. It's never stopped.
It's never stopped. It just goes on. And actually, I believe it goes on. Well, you probably do too. It goes on all the time. You're not listening to it as well. It's existing. Tracy's doing a thing, and I'm lucky enough to sort of be her when we're allowed to hear her.
My favourite thing about the Archers, now that I'm in the world of it, is that because it is so nuanced and because it is so rich and it's so broad, when you talk to people about the Archers, everybody's own life experience interacts with the real life experience of the Archers in such a kind of complex and different way that having a conversation about the Archers, like I've been talking about White Lotus recently, and you either go, I hate this character, I love this character, aren't they funny, aren't they awful, what do you think? Whereas on the Archers, I adore George. I got a letter from someone yesterday saying George is a little shit and deserves everything he gets. You have such rich conversations about it with people that rather than going, if I say I do the Archers podcast, they go, oh, what do you think about so-and-so? I really want to have that discussion. It's not a kind of gratuitous thing. It's like, I want to know what you think about that storyline, because whatever it is, it's probably going to be different from what I think about it. And you will tell me more about you from the way that you respond to the Archers than we could ever get to in talking about anything else.
That's really
so, it's a proper world. It's like a very complex family that illuminates you as a listener as you listen to it.
Yeah. That's so lovely. And I do think that the actors are also like that. We do sit and have discussions about the characters and the story, as if it is, real, and can talk about it all day long, which is great. Get us all.
I do.
Yeah, I know. She's getting paid to do it. Before we let you go, I want to ask the sort of, fan questions, like things like you've worked with everybody. I mean, you've probably worked with or met. Probably in your phone book is everybody in the world famous. Who are your favourites? Who are your favourite famos?
Famos.
Famos. That's your next podcast. Favourite famos is with Susie and Esther.
Favourite famos? I'm going to go Australian for it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, so many. Okay, a quick rundown of my top 5. Mary Berry. I've interviewed her so many times. I have so much respect and love for that woman. She is entirely good and very naughty. First time she came to my house, she picked up my cat, Badger, who's a huge British short hair black boy. Incredible coat. I'm going to start again. First time she came to my house, she picked up my cat Badger, who's an enormous black British short hair, and she held him in her arms, groaning, and she looked at him and she went, oh, he would make a beautiful coat.
Sounds ace.
That's great. Okay.
David Attenborough, who I interviewed at Cheltenham a few years ago, and was everything that you dream David Attenborough would be. You know, it's always that, isn't it? When you meet someone famous, could they possibly live up to your best feelings about them as a performer? And he just blew it all out the window. Even the point when I asked him the question that my son Charlie had asked me to ask him, which was, when you die, will we get a day off school? And he laughed.
Yes, we will. We'll get a bank holiday.
No one in the audience laughed at all. And the Daily Mail.
Really?
Good question. Now I got a lot of trouble for that, but he laughed.
I think it's a fantastic
I
question.
think that's a great question.
Yeah.
Bono, who I also interviewed at Cheltenham, and was at a party once and got there early, and Bono and U2 were playing the sound check because they were playing at this party later. It was one of those parties, and I was sitting watching the sound check, and they all looked very concerned on stage and went, the pianist hasn't turned up. Can anyone here play the piano just for the sound check? And he said, yes, I can. And I went on stage and played the whole of One.
For you, you've played for U2. Emma, what is Earth?
With the Edge standing next to me at the piano going, A sharp minor, D, F major,
Oh my God.
minor, shouting out the chords because I didn't know them. It was very exciting.
You are obscenely talented. Do you know that? It's
I don't play
obscene.
very well, Susie, but I didn't know. Like, he didn't ask me to join the band. Do you know what I'm saying? I wasn't great.
Well, there's still time. Right.
So-
Amazing. Great story. Okay, who's next? So that's Mary Berry, David Attenborough, Bono.
Oh, okay. I thought of those three, and I thought two more will come to me, but now they haven't. Hang on.
Well, if they haven't, that's all right.
that's good.
Those are the three that stand out, then that sort of tells you, doesn't it?
Do you get starstruck? Is the question I really want to ask.
I think I get so starstruck that I've made it my job. I mean, the reason that I'm still overexcited about doing big interviews with extraordinary people is because I'm starstruck. There's nothing normal about it for me at all. I absolutely adore it. You know, it feels like such a privilege to be able to have time and interview people who are at the peak of their career or have had extraordinary lives or, you know, have got amazing things to say or written extraordinary books. So yeah, I still get delightfully starstruck and go bright pink.
Oh,
But
it's
it's actually that which makes you still be up at 2:00 in the morning still researching somebody because you do not want to let them down. You know, that's, I think, starstruck and loving the job absolutely have to go kind of hand in hand. I think you can hear it in someone's voice if they're casual about it. You know, you can hear it very much starstruck.
And my other question, sorry, Esther.
No, that's fine. No.
Is one of the things I thought before we did this interview was, oh God, we're interviewing a world-class interviewer and broadcaster, which is kind of intimidating. But I thought I'll get a tip. I'll get a tip from her.
That's a good
How
idea.
do you handle difficult interviewees who maybe aren't relaxed or are not willing to say much, I suppose?
So someone who's a little bit not relaxed or a little bit uncomfortable can be tricky. Someone who's really unrelaxed and really uncomfortable is a dream because the only thing you can do is talk about it because the audience know or the viewers know, and if you're not addressing it, it's like a great big elephant in the room. I mean, that was a lesson I learned. Well, you know, so many people have done it, but do you remember when, was it Meg Ryan went on Park?
Oh, yes,
famous, yeah.
Just was one word answers. So he just went, what's going on? You know, and they actually discussed it. And the interview was utterly gripping, both in the uncomfy bit and in the confrontation and in how it changed afterwards. And so sometimes you kind of, if I've sensed someone if this is edgy, I kind of go, be more edgy, get to the point where everyone listening can feel the edge. And then let's talk about that, because that's going to be the most interesting discussion we could have. And it always is. I had a very, very drunk actor on my show once, TV show I was doing, drank a bottle of vodka before the interview started, and it was 12:00 in the morning.
Oh, God.
And so I just waited until he'd slurred his speech enough, and then we talked about the alcohol problem. It didn't go well at all, but it was a much more honest interview than had I just kind of pushed on through.
Lean into it. Lean into the difficulty.
Address the elephant.
Yeah, always address the elephants. My best friend, who's also my agent, always says to me, this disgusting phrase, she always says, you've got to ask the sweaty botty question, which means the question that you most don't want to ask for whatever reason. You know that's the question that is what the interview will become about.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah.
And there's no one that you're going to have on a show who isn't able to hold their own in that situation, who isn't able to handle a sweaty, who can't throw it back at you, or who can't deflect it. You know, it's not, you know, I would never want to make someone feel uncomfortable unnecessarily anyway. But if someone's put themselves out for a chat, then they're normally grown up enough to be able to handle the area of conflict.
Yeah, that's brilliant. We've never had anyone that's tricky, have we? We've had people that have been, in fact, all of our guests have been amazing. We had one that we had to coax out slightly, but we've been very lucky. We've always had lovely people to talk to, including yourself. We need to wrap up because we've had you for a very long time. But one question we like to ask people is, this podcast called Limited Time Only. What have you still got left that you would like to do?
I should have given this one a bit of thought. Ahead of me. Wow. I don't know. I think I think I've always been kind of weirdly in the moment. You know, I didn't plan much, and I didn't prep much, and my whole life seems to have kind of tumbled at me. And if it stopped tumbling at me, I could probably sit down and really think things through and answer that question. But at the moment, you know, between the kids and Richard and the cats having their children and you know, life and friendship, there's enough. Yeah. There's enough that I haven't. Also, do you know something? By the time that I was 25, I'd done more than I ever expected to do. I mean, I told you I wanted to be a Blue Peter presenter. What I thought I was going to be was a PA with a clipboard, and that was sort of a dream I was entirely happy with. And I think it's partly because of having come from this crazy named family and not being very competitive, which I'm not, and being surrounded by huge competitive siblings and family members. I was never going to join in the game and take them all on at it and take on the world. So being a PA was like, yes, that would suit. If I had a clipboard and a pen and I could write down things and then give them, that would, I'd love that. You know, I don't want to be in the driving seat, but that would be really nice. And from, you know, starting to present on television, it was like, I cannot believe. And I think I've been shocked really for the last 40 years in that sense. And if it all stops, then in terms of my ambition, I still want to be a PA with a clipboard. So that's Limited Time Only, clipboard time.
Yep, we love a clipboard.
There's something to be said for the fact that you didn't overplan as well, isn't there? You know, that all these fabulous experiences, and you've gone off in lots of different tangents and directed and acted and presented and written and
played
broadcast and journalism.
You too.
Played piano for you too. Like it's just wonderful. There's something almost to be said and taken from that of not constantly planning your next step. Just go with the flow a bit, maybe as well.
I think you're a very open person, and I think that sense of doing, you know, just going with it makes you a very good interviewer, broadcaster, really, because you are completely you're on the beat as it happens. And I think, sticking with the musical theme, but it's kind of, I think that's part of what makes you brilliant at what you do.
That's really kind of you to say, Susie. Thank you. I mean, I feel awkward saying that because I'm incredibly aware, especially in the current climate, that, you know, I've come from a middle class family, and I've been incredibly fortunate and incredibly lucky in so many ways. And, you know, you always have to balance anything in the light of the fact that, you know, I'm healthy and I'm not on the breadline, and all of this. And it's very difficult, I think, now to sort of look at yourself and talk about yourself in a way that doesn't acknowledge that. And if you're acknowledging that, then there's, I've been really fortunate and really lucky in what I've done.
And you've worked hard. You've worked very hard, and you've been very good at it. That you have to kind of.
And also,
that as well.
You've done a hell of a lot for Comic Relief is 40 today, and you are behind one of the people behind that. That's an amazing achievement.
Well, you say that, but I've only been there for 35 years.
Well, I mean,
I'm not going to take full credit.
We'll let you off the 5 years. Thank you so much. It's been a total honour to talk to you. As I say, I mean, the work that you've created over the years, and I've read your columns and Vicar of Dibley and all these projects that my God, we could do with you for about 2 days really, but it's been such a joy to talk to you. Thank you so much. It's been an honour.
Yeah, thank you, Emma.
Thanks, Susie. It was just gorgeous. I've been looking forward to it all week.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
You have been listening to Limited Time Only.
Wasn't Emma amazing?
I didn't tell her this, but I've actually got her and Richard Curtis on my pin board. I have a pin board in front of my
What, do you mean
desk.
throwing darts at them?
Yes, basically.
I'm glad you didn't tell her.
I have like pictures that I've ripped out of things and stuck onto the board of things that inspire me. And
Oh, you should
her
have
and
told
Rich-
her.
I know. I don't know. I sort of slipped my mind. I mean, I'm getting a cat now, so that's all sort of. And we spoke to Richard Curtis, which was completely unplanned. And his work, and as I say, about time, just.
Yeah.
We've just spoken to Emma Freud and
I
Richard
know.
Curtis. What is our life? I'm getting a cat.
We just interviewed one of the country's best interviewers, which makes me quite giddy. Yeah. Thank you, Emma. Thank you so much for giving us your time and your
Cat.
amazing stories and giving SDR a cat. If all our guests could bring something furry on with them,
Yes.
that would be great.
Gosh,
I'd like a dog, actually. I'll just put that out there. So
Yes.
if anyone we're interviewing in the future has any puppies, they want, as long as they're quite small, they're going to stay small. I don't want I'm not a big dog person.
Well, my son has always wanted a ginger cat called Pablo, and this cat is ginger and called Pedro.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I've manifested it.
Well, I told you.
What is our life, Susie?
I told you you're a bit, you know, I think you are a bit magic. You are.
It's my Pisces moon. And
Pisces moon. I like to moon.
I like to moon. Well, I used to.
And I'm a Pisces. So I'm a Pisces mooner.
You are a Pisces mooner.
But we hope you all enjoyed that chat with Emma, especially those of you who like the Archers, because that was a deep dive. And you must listen to the Archers podcast as well, which is brilliant. It's my second favourite podcast after Limited Time Only.
Absolutely. I mean, I thought it was so lovely that her favourite project is the Archers podcast. That of all the body of work that she's created, that is her favourite because she so adores and loves the Archers unconditionally.
Yeah.
How amazing.
That it's fascinating, a pleasure, and it's not a chore. It's kind of a fantastic, all-encompassing hobby. Life's work.
Life's work.
And the podcast is fantastic, and so is Emma. So we're just absolutely chuffed. And James will be when he finds out about the cat.
Bloody hell, his little head's going to, his big manly head's going to explode.
Big manly head. So let's move on. So we have got an LTO brief episode next week, which you can look forward to. And also, if you haven't already, please do sign up for LTO Community. I always want to say LTO Community.
Absolutely. It's got to be done in an Australian accent.
Oh, no, everything does these days. I don't know what's happened to us. But it is a newsletter, an infrequent newsletter of manageable length. I mean, what could be better? It will sound slightly rude, but I like that too.
Me too.
So in your inbox, but please do sign up. You can sign up. You can either email us at limitedtimepodcast@gmail.com, or you can go onto Instagram. There's a link in our bio where you can sign up. And there's also links all over the shop in stories and things like that. Also, look below the podcast, look below this very podcast, and there's a sign up link there. That's probably the easiest thing to do. Just scroll down now. Scroll down now. I'm going to wait.
Scroll down now. Press sign up. Well done. You did it. And then just need to put your email address in. Press I'm not a robot, unless you are. If you are, do not press that button. And then send it. And then we've got your email address, and we will email you infrequently with a manageably lengthed newsletter with lots of fun facts and things.
Beautifully
and,
put, Susie. I
thank
love the
you.
stern headmistress. You got the facts across. You were slightly kinky and stern with it. Love it.
And I'm wearing a tailored jacket with I could be a sexy headmistress today.
You could be a sexy
Slightly
headmistress.
funky headmistress with my fringe and my yellow hoop earrings.
Yeah.
Limited time only colour. Hope you noticed.
You're on it. You're on brand.
I'm on something.
You're popping.
Popping my dopping.
Popping your dopping.
Always a
We
rapper.
better go, because this is supposed to be the outro and we're just having a natter now.
I know, it's hard not to, isn't it? But
is.
it is going to be really horrific for me to edit. Anyway, thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you.
To listen for to
Limited
time only.
Pick me up.
In podcast
form. Ta-ra, bit. Ta-ra. Do you want to do it again, or are you happy with that?